Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Talk with TQ and the Energy Stoners Cafe. As I've always promised, I try to bring to you the most interesting guests that I can find on the planet. Well, tonight I have a fantastic guest. Her name is Luisa Montalvo, and she is, I want to say, like probably one of the best public speakers that I have ever witnessed. She just won, or I don't know how recent it was, she'll tell us. She was a winner of the top honor for speeches for the very, very popular Toastmasters organization, which is an international organization where people, they present themselves through public speaking, and many times people join Toastmasters to hone their public speaking skills. Louisa, welcome to the show. You made it.
Thank
It
you so much,
happened.
Toni. Thank you. Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate you
you.
asking me here. Thank you.
Well, how could I not ask you? I saw a speech that you did recently where you talked about something that you had gone through that changed your life. And it seems to me it was the catalyst for you becoming an outstanding and noteworthy public speaker. Do you mind sharing with the audience how you actually came to the point of being this great public speaker?
Great question. How did I get to this point? I think the beauty of it was at the age of 10, my mother put me in front of 200 of her Avon ladies that she was in charge of. And since she got in front of these ladies and spoke and conducted her meetings once a week, I thought everybody got in front of 200 women and spoke for an hour or two. And my mother was the most eloquent speaker I've ever seen. She was able to command a room with ease. She just acquired this presence that when she started to speak, people just listened. And I was trying to emulate her because I wanted to be exactly how she was. And so through my whole life, I've been non-fearing of public speaking, no fear whatsoever. So anytime a speaking event comes up or is presented to me, I tried to go forward with it. With Toastmasters International, I've been trying for the last 13 years to win the top prize in the world. And I was able to achieve that back in August of 2024. I am the first Hispanic to reach #1 in the world and the first female to come back after making it to the finals and actually win top prize. So that is how I got here. 13 years, lost over 40 contests. And some people don't think about how many contests am I going to have to lose before I win. And to me, it was just a way to reinvent myself and find out what it is the judges actually wanted. And funny, every time I thought, this is the speech, this is the one that's going to win, it wasn't. So I've learned not to take the loss personally, but as an invitation to turn around and reinvent myself.
So tell me, how did you decide to join Toastmasters of groups? I have my opinion of Toastmasters. It's an excellent organization, and it's really very good. I'd say at recognizing talented speakers, as well as helping people hone their skills, many famous people as well. Well, you're famous now, but other famous people have gotten their start through Toastmasters. And you seem very engaged with the organization. You
Very
inspire me.
engaged. I've always loved public speaking. I was doing it in high school, competing at the UIL level. And then when I signed up at my employment, which was Abbott Laboratories in Austin, Texas, I remember walking down the hallway to HR to sign my permanent papers. And I heard laughter coming from one of the conference rooms. And I thought, something's wrong. Nobody's supposed to be having a good time at work. And what I found out was happening was that Toastmasters International was actually holding a humorous contest there at work because they were sponsoring a club. And when I saw this, I thought, I immediately told myself I need to be a member because I am so competitive. I love to compete. So I joined right then and there. In fact, I joined during the humorous contest. And that was in 1989. and they had the club there for about 4 years, and then they disbanded it. And then I made the mistake of not looking for another Toastmasters club. So when I did retire and I came down here to be close to my mom 13 years ago, when I went to the library, my 95-year-old mentor, Phyllis Allen, had put a big flyer on the door there at the library that said, join Toastmasters. And I said, yes, I have to do this again. So I immediately joined again in 2013. And I've been with the organization ever since.
Wow, just in 2013. So now let me see, it's been over a decade, and it seems like it was several decades ago that you found your, it sounds like it's your passion.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you like to talk about, Luisa? I've heard a speech or two of yours. What do you like to talk about?
I can talk about almost anything. My little, I guess, mantra is make them laugh, make them cry, leave them with a message. So anything that I talk about, that's usually what I want to do, or I hope to do. But if you want to ask me what I'd love to talk about, it would be probably funding or being able to start my spay neuter clinic down here in South Texas that I want to bring to fruition, because it's something that I've had on my mind and on my heart for the longest time. And I believe that spaying and neutering down here in the valley will be the answer to the crisis we're having. So if you want to ask me what I would love to talk about, it would be saving animals.
Oh,
That would
wow.
be it.
That's beautiful. So when you, what is it, why is it a crisis down there? I know why it's a crisis other places.
The the rescues that I've dealt with are usually on the East Coast. And I believe it's a mentality shift that needs to happen down here, because people down here will get a dog to tie him to a tree so that they
Ooh.
bark if somebody tries to come into the yard. Or again, people here don't have the mindset or maybe even knowledge that we should be spaying. Hey, that we should be spaying and neutering our dogs so we don't have the overpopulation. And I believe
Yeah.
that within is the problem. We are not spaying and neutering down here. So now we have dogs living in the streets because nobody spays and neuters.
Yeah, puppies too, I imagine were
Mm-hmm.
running around loose,
Yep.
which is a scary thought.
In fact, I had called you earlier saying, "Are we still on for today?" Because they just called me right now asking me if I could go pick up a puppy that they're trying to
Oh.
catch. So
Hmm.
I was on my way to go do that, and I said, "No, wait a minute, I've got a podcast." So chances are, as soon as I finish with you, I'll be getting on the road to head down there and try to catch this puppy that is in need of medical attention.
Yeah, so you'll have to skedaddle. So what, do you know anything about this puppy? It's a puppy?
So the puppy was somebody went and caught the mother, the mama dog. The puppy stayed under someone's house. They weren't able to catch it. The neighbors have been feeding the puppy, but now the puppy needs rescue. So it hasn't been looking well for the last couple of days.
Oh,
So it's probably going to need fluids, which I have here. I'll probably have to give it sub-Q fluids, give it some vitamins, give it some tonic for the iron to build up the red blood cells.
yeah.
And once it gets healthy, then we can go ahead and vaccinate it. And once we get it vaccinated, we can get a health certificate and then send it on transport up to the East Coast where they're wanting puppies.
Yeah. Do you ever see adult dogs? Because, I'll say many people, they feel that it's best for them. And also, some people feel that it's morally better. I don't have an opinion about the moral part of it a little bit. To adopt an adult dog because they're so often cast aside when they're adults.
This is true, and the problem, not so much that it's a problem, but a lot of people want a full bred dog or a purebred dog. So they're thinking if the dog's coming off the streets, it's going to have problems, maybe issues, and that's not the case. Like I said, I've got 9 dogs. They're all great. They've all been rescue dogs. Most of them have been off the streets, and I just think it's something that just needs to be addressed, and I feel I need to do something because this has to stop. I didn't want to mention this, but South Texas is number one for euthanizing dogs, because we
Wow.
euthanize almost over 100 dogs a day here.
Wow.
Not
Wow.
because they're sick, not because they're old, not because of anything. It's because we don't have the space or room where to keep them or where to board them. Why? Because there's an overpopulation problem.
So this is your passion, so you must talk about it often.
I tried to.
What kind of audiences are interested in that, in your opinion? The whole dog rescue thing.
Believe it or not, I could talk, Tony, I could talk to any group. And if I say, in fact, I've got a speaking engagement coming up for the city secretaries. There's about 25 women. And in my intro, I talk about wanting to start a free spay and neuter clinic. I will have people come up to me after my presentation and say, hey, what do you need for this clinic to get going? And if I say, well, you know what, I've got a Cash App fund, or I've got a GoFundMe, or I've got a this where a 501c3, where if I can raise the funds to be able to get this off the ground, that's the only thing I'm lacking. I tell you what, it does not matter the group of people I'm speaking with. Everybody wants to help. Everybody.
Yeah. One thing I can say about the United States, as far as compared to other countries, and I've read this, is that we tend to be very much animal lovers. People
Mm-hmm.
don't really love animals as much as we do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many times do I sit and cry when I watch those ASPCA commercials?
Exactly.
Humane
Exactly.
Society and the little puppies looking at you in the camera or the kitten. I mean, I don't know. Don't get me started. I'll get
Right. Exactly.
emotional.
Exactly.
I'll
See?
get emotional. Because I've seen people dismiss the fact that animals have rights. I know in New York City, in New York State, animals actually have legal rights.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're not allowed to do anything to upset them or hurt them in any way, and you can go to jail, and people have gone to jail for it. So I
And see,
commend you for
I'm
doing what
sorry,
you
go ahead.
do.
Go ahead.
I commend you for what you do.
Well, the thing is, we have those laws here, some of them, they're just not
Hmm.
enforced. So that's what makes it hard for us.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you think is the remedy for that? I mean, I'm sort of going a little bit
No,
off the
no, no.
tangent here.
The remedy is if I can get a spay neuter clinic to where it's free, because this is what really upsets me. People will be walking around with a brand new iPhone or, you know, gold jewelry or whatever, and maybe I'm being judgmental, I don't know. But they can't afford $100 to fix their dog. I just don't buy it, because if they really needed something, they would put that money towards that. And I don't think they're aware of the problem. So with my program, what I want to do is three different things. One is to be able to get a free spay and neuter clinic going, and through donations, fund it for the anesthesia, the vaccines, the veterinarians, all that. Two is to be able to go out to the high schools and to the universities and make them aware of how to properly raise or keep an animal. And three is being able to get maybe old ambulances and go out to all the colonias, which are places where dogs are just running rampant because people go and dump their dogs because they don't want a dog anymore. And if I can do that, I think in 7 years I will have eradicated the whole overpopulation here in South Texas. And if that
Wow.
works here, then it can work anywhere.
And you're just talking about South Texas. I mean, this is a problem, I think, for a lot of reasons. I'm going to ask you, I asked somebody else recently that I interviewed this question who was into animal advocacy. What is your commentary about animals that have been displaced by natural disasters? I'm thinking particularly about the wildfires that have been happening for several years or forever, I want to say, in California. Do you have a commentary on that?
I do, and it may not be correct, but it's again my commentary. Tony, I believe when you address the public and say we are in a crisis, there's a fire, we don't have anywhere to put these dogs or these cats, people come out of the woodwork to help. Guaranteed. It's the way rescues run, because you are basing everything on the emotions of your audience. And when, just like you said, you see the ASPCA commercial and you see the puppy and you're like, oh my gosh, well, let me get on the phone and let me donate $25 a month, because this is something that I'm learning, and you wouldn't think it, but people initially, deep down, I don't care who you are, we want to help. We want to help with whatever it is that interests us. And the thing is, if you can't foster, if you can't board, if you can't transport, if you can't adopt, you can donate, because every organization needs funds to be able to fund whatever they're working on. And I think I've seen it. I think it happened here when we had a hurricane close to, I believe, New Orleans, where they said, we don't have anywhere to put the animals. There was a line of people waiting outside to pick up an animal. And here's the thing, here's the beauty of it. They said, you know what? We just need you to hold the dog or the cat for 7 to 14 days. And everybody says, I can do that. But it took a natural disaster for them to say, hey, let me help, to where they could have come up and done that any other time. But if you say short term, and then here's what happens, and I know it because I've seen it happen. Somebody will go and pick up a puppy. They'll take care of it for 14 days, and they say, okay, well, it's time to bring the puppy back. We're like, oh, really? Can I keep
It's
it?
okay.
Can
We
I
love him
adopt
now. He's a
it?
part of the family.
Yes, exactly. So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
And I love it when I see the general public stepping up to the plate and saying, we want to help.
Interesting that you're saying they say that just adopted or fostered for 7 to 14 days. I think if people knew that that's all they had to do, perhaps that would be a solution to the problem. Because most people think once you adopt it, you have to keep it. There's the responsibility. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
ready. And I think
Absolutely, absolutely.
if
I
somebody has a
believe.
dog for 2 weeks, they'll be ready, perhaps.
Well, and you know what? It's kind of like you go and look at cars. And you're like, I don't know if I want this car. Back in the day, they would say, you know what? Take the car for a week. Drive it around, see if you like it. And what happens? You're driving the car around. It's a brand new car. People are commenting. It rides real smooth. Nothing's broken on it. You're like, let me just keep the car. Let me just buy the car. So I think
Yeah.
it would be a win-win situation if we were to be able to do that. Because let's say out of 100 dogs, 20 of them found homes.
That's
That's
pretty
20
good.
more than when you started.
Yeah.
So at least you were able to place 20 of them. Now you're just dealing with 80 instead of 100.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
20%, that's pretty good odds.
Yeah, that is. And that's usually what happens.
Yeah.
I
Now,
know, because that little dog that I was showing you at the beginning of the show,
yeah, he's
they
cute.
had her on Facebook, and they had her on this huge dog bed, and she's in the middle of it, and she's just shivering because we were expecting to
Oh,
freeze. And they
yeah.
said, if you can come and just pick up a dog for 2 weeks till we get over the freeze, and then you can bring her back. Well, guess who, 2 years later, guess who's running the household? Yeah,
She's still living the
exactly.
life of Riley, huh?
She is. She is living their life of variety.
That's
Absolutely.
great. That is so
Absolutely.
great. That's the first I've heard that, you know, actually stated you can have the dog for 2 weeks and you can give it back so they can get their act together so they can actually accommodate these animals.
Hmm.
So I guess that's a good commentary on what's been going on with the natural disasters, hurricanes, wildfires, earthquakes. Dogs, animals, they get displaced,
Hmm.
and often their behavior will give you a heads up about it. They say that wild animals like goats and I can't think of any other wild animals right now, but what they'll do is they'll all seek higher ground. They always give you a clue to what's going to happen. So these dogs, you adopt them and then you put them together in your own little commune there for them. Do they get along all the time, or do they kind of fight and then work it out amongst themselves?
No, no, they all get along. I think they're like people. And the way I bring or introduce a dog to my home is, for example, Color. She's a small dog, and I have bigger dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So for 3 to 5 days, she stays in a crate in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of the living room or the kitchen or wherever.
Mm-hmm.
And my dogs will go up and smell her, and she smells them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go outside, do whatever
Mm-hmm.
they've got to do. They come inside, and then I let her outside by herself. And so
Mm-hmm.
she's getting into the routine. And by the
Right.
fifth or sixth day, she already knows everybody. Mind you, I still keep her on a leash because I never know if somebody's going to react. And I can pull a 2-pound dog into my arms better than I can a 50-pound dog. So she stays on
Yeah.
a leash and we get to know each other and we watch everybody and everything goes fine. And then they become part of the pack.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, It really is. I mean, I have a soft spot for dogs. I had a dog that passed away some years ago, and I'm on the cusp of getting a new one. And every time I see somebody else's dog, it's like I'm ready. But I have to make sure because I think about things like the vet bills.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and really, a neighbor of mine just yesterday said that, when you get one, it's really important to get insurance for them. They offer insurance for dogs. So God forbid something happens to them, you can afford to take care of, especially if 9 of them. Are they all insured?
Actually, well, here's the thing. And to be quite honest with you, I am 10 minutes from the Mexico border. I did pick up a dog a year ago on New Year's Eve. He had been laying on the side of the road
Mm-hmm.
with a broken neck
Oh
for
my
three
God.
days. For
Oh
three
my
days. And I saw him on Facebook and I thought, Luisa, get off Facebook. Anytime I see a dog, I want to go and save it. So New Year's Eve, I go out. I'm in my truck. I've got a kennel or a crate in case I find him. I find him. I'm still in my wheelchair. The guy that had seen him helped me load him into the crate. The dog's neck was broken, and I had him. I took him to the vet and had X-rays. And if I drive 5 hours north, the surgery was going to cost me $6,000, almost 7,000, because then he was going to have his arm amputated. I
Oh
was
no.
able to take him to Mexico by showing my vet in Mexico the X-rays, and the vet says I can do it for 1,200 in Mexico. So I took him to Mexico. He's healed now. I've had him for over a year. His leg was amputated. He's running around with 3 legs, and he has no idea he has a disability.
Oh, that's
So,
so sweet.
if
I've seen that
so,
before in dogs.
yep. So when you ask me, are they all insured? I would probably be spending maybe $500 a month on insuring all of them, but
Hmm.
knowing that I have the beauty of volunteering for a rescue is that a lot of the ailments that a dog or a cat has, I basically know what it is that the dog or cat would need to be able to help them get better. Now, if the dog doesn't get better in 2 to 3 days, then of course I take him to the vet and I'm ready for that. But like I was telling you earlier, this puppy is probably dehydrated, so he's going to need sub-Q fluids. He probably has white gum, so he's going to need tonic because his iron red blood count is low. So it's just things like that that I'm blessed to know and to be able to help other dogs or cats.
Wow, it's a beautiful thing that you're doing. Well, we have 2 minutes left. I just could listen to you forever. I could listen to you forever, especially talking about dogs, as I'm a real enthusiast. I just want you to just share a little bit about, in this, minute and a half or however, how you got involved with Toastmasters. You're like their store. You're like the darling of the organization right now.
Or you said you got it right. Right now, in 4 months, it's the next flavor of the month, and that's, you know what, that's perfectly fine with me. This is an honor that, like I said, I've been working towards for 12 years plus,
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to actually attain it, achieve it, it's been a dream come true. I am ready to try to rise to the challenge of being the representative that I feel Toastmasters wants me to be. I do want to leave your audience with a message. See, I found dog rescue about 8 years ago, and I had gray hair back then, but I did the 9 to 5 job, and it paid the bills. But I found my true passion was either speaking, public speaking, and rescuing dogs. You're
Yeah.
never too old to find out what it is that makes you happy. You're
You're
never
still,
too old.
well, you're still a young thing. You really
Heck
are.
yes, heck
Yes, you are.
yes.
You're still a young thing. And I didn't, the audience can't see this. If you don't mind, I just tell that you are wheelchair bound.
Yes.
But easily forget that after talking to you or seeing you speak. So that being said, I'm gonna have to have you back on, and if you feel like sharing that story, I think that the audience would be really thrilled to hear it because it's you're just a remarkable person, and I always try to find remarkable people.
Well, thank you.
People say to me, my cousin draws. She wants to be on the show. That's good, but this is not the show for her. No, you're
Well,
the
thank
kind of
you.
person
That's an
that
honor.
inspires. I am inspired, I'm in Toastmasters as well, and it is a great organization. And you might know this. Before we close, I'll just say, as public speakers, we're often offered these special opportunities by people that say they're going to teach us how to professionally or effectively deliver our message. Where if you go to Toastmasters, I'm giving them a plug, you don't have to pay that money. You have to pay a little bit, but you don't have to pay that money. And you can sit and listen. You can even sit and be entertained, which was my initial objective. But somehow I keep trying to get out and they keep dragging me back in, you know? And
And look at you. Here you are with a podcast. There you go.
yeah, well, I had that before them.
Oh, good. Okay.
And I've interviewed other Toastmasters. I have, and it's a great organization if you're interested in things that are worthy,
Hmm.
worthwhile hearing, worthwhile talking about. So on that note, I'm going to tell you good night, Luisa, and thank you so much. Can you please tell my audience how they can contact you if they want to, because they might want to?
Absolutely. My email address is my last name, montalvo.luisa@yahoo.com. I'm also on Facebook. I'm the one holding a dog. My family's behind me in the picture, but it's Montalvo, Montalvo dot Luisa, Luisa @yahoo.com. Thank
Got
you,
it.
Toni, for this thank you for this interview, and thank you for the opportunity.
And thank you for indulging me. This is great. And after seeing your speech, I have a different, uh, not that I had a bad opinion, but I have a different opinion of Toastmasters. But more importantly, I just find you to be extraordinary. And I thank you for coming on the show and keep doing what you do. And I will call you when I'm ready to get one, really ready to get a dog. I'm
Yes,
not going to do it
yes,
until I'm ready, but I'm going to get one. I am.
absolutely.
I'm a
Thank
dog
you.
lover. My
Thank you for that.
pleasure. Thanks, Louisa. And thank you to the audience for coming to the Energy Stoners Cafe podcast and Talk with TQ. And until next time, I'll always be on the lookout for the most interesting people I can find on the planet. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.